Hello, I'm here with Dan Klein. He is the CEO of Tiesta Tea. Dan, please tell us about Tiesta Tea.
All right. Well, Tiesta Tea was conceived in 2010. It is a company born out of the incubator at the University of Illinois. It was part of a program called the Illinois Launch Program. Started the company with Patrick Tanous, my co-founder and current president of the business. The whole idea behind Tiesta Tea is to make tea simple and accessible by providing two very clear results to the consumer: the flavor that they're looking for and the function that they're looking for. So rather than branding tea by tea type or origin, we brand it by flavor and function. So we have 5 different functions that correspond to what you're looking for on any given day: energizer, slenderizer, immunity, relaxer, and eternity. So the other thing that we noticed before we started the business is that it was very difficult to find a good quality loose leaf tea in a grocery store. So we set out to kind of pioneer that type of product in the grocery market, and that's really where we've seen a lot of traction. So we sell primarily to grocery stores, specialty stores, natural food stores. We've been able to get pretty good distribution in the past couple of years. We work with the 2 largest national food distributors, specialty food distributors in the country, and we're in about 2,500 retail stores to date. So it's been a great ride for us. Really just trying to get our product out there and try and replicate the business model that we currently have, which is to push product out through our distributors to these retail stores and then be able to promote the product in store through sampling, discounts, and then social media. And a combination of all those things hopefully brings, along with the product being good enough for people to want to buy it again, hopefully brings the customer back. And then we just want to continue to grow on that same path.
Great. And now, how did you come up with the idea to start a tea company?
So the idea for the tea company started on a study abroad trip. Patrick and I have known each other for a long, long time. We grew up together and stayed very close friends. While we were both studying abroad in different cities, we decided to book a trip together to Prague in the Czech Republic. So we went to Prague, and we noticed that there were these very exotic loose leaf teas that were very popular. You'd see them in tea houses, you'd see them at restaurants, and we always wondered, after we left Prague, we said, well, why aren't we seeing this in the United States? They're so good. We brought some home with us and shared it with our friends and family, and realized that once we ran out, we didn't know where to go to get more tea. At that same time, a major now competitor of ours was emerging. They're called Teavana. They primarily put retail stores in high foot traffic malls, and they were recently acquired for about $650 million by Starbucks. So what the whole idea that we kind of wanted to expand on that we saw in Prague was that these types of loose leaf teas are full leaf. They have different fruits and herbs, very large chunks of these fruits. And again, these are very, very popular in Europe and Eastern Europe. But you come back to the United States and we just didn't see anything like it. So we started experimenting with recipes. We started talking to people in the tea industry, and we realized that not only was there a market for it, but we had a branding spin that might be able to attract more of the mass market consumer.
And what are some of the strategies you've used to gain a following? Because you've done this pretty quickly.
Strategy, it's been a lot of grassroots guerrilla marketing strategies. Going out and doing tea tastings in store. We used to do that on just a local level. Now we do that on a national level. So we go out, sign up a big account. One of our newest accounts is a chain called Winn-Dixie. Winn-Dixie is primarily in the Southeast, very large chain, about 500 stores. So we went to Winn-Dixie and we said, we want to do a big launch with you guys, but we're not going to just sell you the product. We're going to help you promote the product. And we do that by taking a certain percentage of their stores that typically are kind of their higher end stores, and hiring a demo company to go out and demo our product, represent it as best they can, and hopefully get as many people to taste the tea as possible. Because our whole philosophy by getting a following is put the product in people's hands. if they can taste it, we know that they'll like it because we know the quality is so high. And we truly spend a lot of time on R&D. So we're confident that putting it in their hands will hopefully equate to a sale, which will equate to them coming back for more.
And you mentioned one of your big competitors, Teavana. What really gives you that competitive advantage over them?
So someone like Teavana, they've been very, very successful. There's no doubt about it. They're growing quickly. They now have the backing of Starbucks, which is very valuable for them. The thing about Teavana that is difficult as a consumer is you have to go to a mall to purchase Teavana's tea. You can't go to a grocery store. You can buy it online, but you're not going to your regular shopping area to purchase that tea. The other thing that Teavana does is they because of their retail space is so high, the cost of it's so high, their markups are very high. So their prices are roughly double the prices of our teas. The other thing is Teavana will sometimes enhance the look of the tea, and that won't necessarily translate to taste. So we make sure that, yes, we have these exotic teas with these big fruits and herbs inside the tea and blended together, but we don't overdo it. We make sure that each cup of tea that's brewed by a customer is consistent. And so we spend a little bit more time doing that sort of thing.
Very cool. And what is one of the biggest challenges that you've faced so far in starting this company?
So the biggest challenge for us, there's been pretty much two main challenges, and they're both kind of connected together. One is the nature of our industry, and two is getting the product out to the consumer. So I'll talk a little bit about the industry first. So in the food and beverage industry, startup costs tend to be very high. You need to purchase inventory up front, you sell it to a retailer, and you typically get paid 30 to 60 days after that sale is shipped. So it creates a little bit of a cash flow gap. The other thing is many chains, like a Whole Foods or a Jewel or any type of grocery chain in the United States, they typically have a part of their budget where they call a new item placement fee or a slotting fee. And so if anyone's ever heard the term buying real estate at a grocery store, that's exactly what it is. So many new brands pay money to get on the shelf, and then they usually get about a 6 to 12 month window to perform. If they're able to continue to perform, then they'll stay on the shelf, and they're constantly evaluated year after year. Those slotting fees tend to be the cost of that entire first order. So one of the biggest challenges for us was being able to communicate that idea to investors and to say, hey, this is an industry standard, and we don't think there's anything we can do about it. Here's the interesting thing. We couldn't get an investor to buy into that concept. So what we did was we turned it around and said, how can we get these stores to not charge us that slotting fee? So we put our heads together, and Patrick and I came up with a program called what we call the Demo Derby program. So we present this to the retailer and we say, hey, Winn-Dixie, we understand that you expect a case of free product per flavor per store to get on your shelves. We are not able to provide you with that. However, we'll take that same money that we would have paid you in free product or slotting fees, and we're going to put that towards a comprehensive demo program so that we can get 250 people in your stores demoing the product on a given day. So we back that up by showing the buyers of these retailers exactly what the effect of those demos are. And typically we've seen a 3x sales lift in stores that we've demoed in versus stores that we haven't demoed in. So it's very clear, we make it very clear to the buyer that instead of taking the slotting fees from us up front and really hurting our cash flow as a small business, why don't we do it another way? You're going to make more money long term anyway, and we're also going to be able to promote the product and move it off the shelf.
Very cool. And so now, did doing the demo days help you get investors?
Yeah, absolutely. So that was actually the core concept of what we presented to investors. That was the main component of what we wanted the capital for, and investors loved it. And one of the reasons why they loved it so much is because they knew as potential investors and now investors that the product was good. They had tried it, they believed in it, they loved the branding, the packaging, all of that. They knew that the biggest barrier for us is getting the product in other people's hands. And so the fact that we're able to get out of slotting fees, which is honestly probably why 8 out of 10 new food and beverage companies fail. It's because they run out of cash, and that's usually why they run out of cash. So once we were able to present that idea in kind of a formal manner to investors, it was very easily understood. And we showed them the proof. We signed up a bunch of retailers at the end of last year, right before we raised our round. And we went to those retailers and we said, you guys need to sign this form that basically indicates that we're not going to pay a slotting fee and we're going to allocate this many demos to your stores. And they all signed it. So we had literally signed proof that this concept that, as far as we knew, no one was trying, was working. So it was really just it felt like we kind of just gotten lucky, but it really was the culmination of a lot of hard work to figure out how to get this point across to not only buyers, but to investors.
Great. And Dan, what is one thing that you can really attribute to your success as a company?
Well, certainly a unique marketing plan and branding approach is key. But I can't give enough credit to my team. Everybody on our team has been absolutely crucial to our success. Patrick and I started the business shortly after that. A couple months later, we hired our first part-time employee, who ended up being a full-time employee. His name is Bobby Moynihan. He's our creative director, does all of our design, packaging, website, everything. Next, we brought on Alex Sosnoff, our COO, handles all the operations. And then we finally hired a 5th, 6th, and 7th full-time employee. All of them started part-time. And then as we grew and as we got funding, we were able to bring them on full-time. No one's turned over. Everyone's stuck with the company. We haven't had anyone quit. God forbid somebody does, but we really try and keep a good-hearted work environment. Our office is relatively relaxed. We all work hard, but we also know how to have a good time. We also know that it's important for us to walk into work every day and enjoy what we do. And I can tell you that every single person in this company, really, they come in with a smile on their face, and they're ready to go. And that's really the key to success for us.
That's amazing. And Dan, I know you're busy, so I have one last question for you. What advice can you give to other startup founders?
All right. I'll give 2 pieces of advice. One is just general, and the second would be if they're raising a round of funding. So the first general piece of advice I would give is really just, make an MVP, a minimum viable product, get it out there, and start selling it. Get customers to provide you feedback on that. We launched our product within 3 or 4 months of opening the business, and those initial comments and reactions that we got from customers helped mold the product that we have now. So you can't really write this huge business plan and then expect to just follow that. Things change, and really the only way to figure out if something's working is to actually try it. And if it fails, you might have lost a little money here and there, but you know that approach didn't work. And then the other piece of advice with investors, we created, we set the valuation to be reasonable, and we wanted to create something where investors were coming to us. So we actually hosted presentations in the city of Chicago, just like a very large private company would do, and sent out invitations. You rent out a room at a major hotel in Chicago and have people come to you. And so we set up the room. We had a demo booth showcasing our marketing, program. We had product all over. We were serving a couple different types of tea, and that really allowed us to show potential investors the Tiesta Tea experience. And them being able to come in a room with 25 or 30 other people that are interested in investing kind of pushes them along to make a decision. And so that was the single most important thing we did to raise this round. Once we did that, got a couple investors very quickly. And then once you have a couple investors, it seems to be a little bit easier to get the last couple. So It's a great tip. I'm surprised people don't use it more, and hopefully someone will take some of this advice.
Yes. Perfect. Dan, well, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
If you're interested in learning more and connecting with Dan, go to fundology.com.